Welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. My name is Eric. I'll be taking you through this topic, squares and square roots. And for this lesson, we're going to look at square roots of numbers from tables. So previously, we looked at the square roots of numbers from tables and specifically for those numbers between 1 and 10. Now, for this lesson, we're going to look at now the same thing, but now on square roots of numbers that are between 10 and 100, maybe 12, 13, 20 something there, 30, 45, no, those numbers. So those are the numbers we are talking about here. Remember, when you go to tables of square roots, there are two tables. There is one table for numbers between 1 and 10, and then you will find another one, tables of square roots of numbers between 10 and 100. So every time you are checking the square roots of numbers from tables, you must always check the heading whether you are on the right page. You have to confirm that you're on the right page before you begin to read square roots of numbers from tables. So when you open, when you reach the square roots of numbers or tables of square roots, you should be able to check that you are on the right page. Because there should be a difference when you are reading the square root of numbers between 10 and 100, and also when you're reading the square roots of numbers between 1 and 10, there should be a difference. So please always check. You don't just see the heading written square root and then you go ahead to read the square root of the numbers from the table. You have to confirm that you are on the right page. So for this lesson, we are going to look at square roots of numbers that are in between 10 and 100. Of course, we have some few sample questions just to help us see how that can be done. And at the end of the lesson, we'll be able to give you some assignment just to help you practice, just to help you practice and just to help gauge on your understanding of the concept as discussed through this lesson. So let's see how that can be done. So as we had hinted previously, is that square roots of numbers from 1 to 99.99 are given in the table. Immediately you get into the tables of square roots, and I'll say there are two. There is that table of square roots of numbers between 1 and 10, and there is also the other table of square roots of numbers between 10 and 100. So all numbers ranging from 1 to 99.99, you can directly read their square roots from the table. So if you have those that are outside the range, like a few of them that are displayed here, then there is a way you can modify. So there is a way, if you have one like this one here and this, you see they're outside the range. This is a number that is more than 100, and this is a number that is between 1 and 0. So it doesn't fall within this range of 1 to 99. So if you have these ones, we're going to see how that can be done. Maybe in our next lessons, we're going to see how you can find the square roots of numbers that are outside that range. But for this lesson, we'll just narrow down to square roots of numbers that are between 10 and 100. Previously, we did square roots of numbers between 1 and 10. So we have our first example here. Use tables of square roots to evaluate the following, and we're supposed to find the square root of 12.46. So as we did in the previous lesson, you just need to make sure, one, you have four figures. Like here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see we have 4 figures here. Then the first 2 digits you still check from the column headed X. Before you read this, because this table here, you can see it's a square roots of numbers between 10 and 100. You must confirm that first of all, the number you're reading its square root is a number that is between 10 and 100. And then the table also. So the two have to be consistent. So you check, So we're talking about the square roots of numbers between 10 and 100, and you can see our number here is a number that is between 10 and 100, 12.46. And then of course you have to confirm that the number is having strictly four digits. So the first two digits you still check from the column headed X. So you move all the way up to number 12. You can see 12 is here. And then you move across that digit and across that row until you get to the column headed by the next digit, which is 4. That is the main column. So 4 is here. So the intersection here, that is supposed to be the value that you are, the number that you are looking for. So check again that along that row, the first number here starts with 3 points. So all of them along that row are supposed to start, all of them along that row, that is within the main column. The main column starts from 0 to 9. This is the main column here. So within the main column, all the numbers within that row are supposed to be starting with 3 points. So even the one that you have highlighted, this one here, is supposed to be 3.5214. So this is 3.5214. That is the square root of the number 12.4, but then still digit remaining here. So this we call it a difference. So you move to the differences column up to the digit, the column headed by the next digit, 6. So you go up to digit number, column number 6, and there we are. So you pick the number 85. So that number 85, you'll add it to this. Take note of the way I'm adding it. It is added to the last digits. So this is 8, this is 9, and this is 2, this is 5, and this is 3. So it means the square root of 12.46, the square root of 12.46 is 3.5298. So that means is that the square root of 12.46 is equals to 3.5298. So that is how you're able to read the squares of numbers. So please take note, if you have a number that is between 10 and you're trying to find the square root of a number that is between 10 and 100, then you have to move to this table. This is a table of square roots of numbers between 10 and 100. So you have to leave the other table. There is the previous table we looked at, the tables of square roots of numbers between 1 and 10. So you move from that table, you get to this table. So there are two tables. Please take note. Every time you're doing this, you must make sure that that is done. So again, we have this 11.18. The procedure is still the same. You still have to use the first two digits. So this one thing that we mentioned in the previous example is that you must make sure that the number here is having exactly 4 figures. So if that is not the case, you first of all round off to 4 figures. So you first of all round off to 4 figures. So if that is, so that is already the case here. You know, already we are having 4 figures. So you pick the first two digits, you check from the column headed X, you move up to number 11. So you see 11 is here. You move across that row until you get to the column headed by the next digit, which is 1. So next digit 1 here, 1 is here. So the point of intersection. Again, you have to check along that row, the first number starts with what value? So it's 3 points. So even the one that I've highlighted should be 3.3317. So I have 3.3317. So there is 8 still remaining. That's what we call the difference. So continue up to the differences column, up to the column headed by the next digit, which is 8. So move up to 0.8. You see. So 8 is there. Point of intersection, that is 118. So that is what you add. Take note of how I'm adding it. I'm adding it to the last digits. So we have 118. So if you add, I will have 7 plus 8 is 15. So 5 carry 1. This is 3. And then this one is 4. And then this is 3. And then we have 3. So what this means is that the square root of 111.11.18 should be equal to the answer that we have obtained here. So that is going to be 3.343435. So take note of how we are doing that. So We have another one here. This one now you can see it has more than 4 figures. So you have to round off first. So count 4 figures, 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw the cutoff line. The number after the cutoff line it's falling in the category of 5 or more. So you increase the digit before the cutoff line by 1. Therefore, this 4 increases by 1. So this is the same as the square root of 12.555. So again, the first 2 digits we check from the column headed X. So that is 12. You can see 12 is here. And then you move across the main column, this column ranging from 0 all the way up to 0.9 there, until the column headed by the next digit, which is 5. So move up to the column headed by 5. So the point of intersection. Check here, the first number here starts with what value? 3 point. So it means all the numbers along that row in the main column should be starting with 3 points. So this is going to be 3 point, but then you use the number that we have highlighted here. So 3.5355. So 3.53555. You see, that is going to be the square root of 12.5. But then there is still this one here that we need to find its square root. So we move on up to the column headed by the next digit 5, but now in the differences column. Difference column starts from here, 1 all the way up to 9, this one here. So move along that until you get to the column headed 5. And now 5 is here. Point of intersection of the two, the column and the row, 71. Take note of how I'm adding that. So 71, you add it to the last digits. So we have 6, 12, 2 carry 1, 4, 5.3 as the correct answer here. Yes. So that is how you are able to find the square roots of numbers between 10 and 100 using tables. So the difference is that you change the table. The moment you realize that your number falls between 1 and 100, you move from the first table to this other table, and they are labeled here. So you just have to read this. You check, open the page. This one could be in the edition I'm using. This is sixth edition. This one could be on page 21 and page 22. So you just need to go to the table of content and check. Open table of content, check where the tables of square and square roots, squares and square roots, or squares. This one is square roots. So tables of square roots, you open the page, and then you'll find the table right over there. So I have the last one here where we are supposed to find this. Again, you can see this is more than the digits in this number more than 4. So you have to round off first. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, then draw the cutoff line. Look at the digit after the cutoff line. It's 5 or more, increase this by 1. If it is less than 5, nothing happens to this. All these other ones reduces to 0 after rounding off. And of course, the last zeros, even if you reduce this to 0, the last zeros after the decimal point, they will not really count that much. These last zeros, So this means you're going to get the square root of 13.98. So again, you check the first 2 digits in the main column. 13 is here. Move across the row until you get to the column headed by the next digit, which is 9. So column number 9. So we move until we get to column number 9. So we have 7283. So you check the first number here along that row. This is the row. So the first number starts with 3 points. So all of them along that row in the main column should be starting with 3 points. So this other one will also start with 3.7283. But then there is this one still remaining, the 8 here. So you continue up to the differences column. That is the differences column, the column headed by the next digit, which is 8. So column number 8, there it is. So column number 8, the point of intersection, we have 109. So take note of where I'm adding 109, you add it here. The last digits, So this is 12, 2 carry 1, 9, 3, 7, 3 point. So it means the square root of 13.98 is 3.7392. Approximately, that is the square root of this number here. Approximately. So that is all. There are a few questions here to help you practice on the same thing that you have learned. Until next time, goodbye.